Hello there. I see I am currently up. There we go. Krasimir is here. Hello, sir. How are you doing? Krasimir says, in summer, I can't find organic lettuce. Can I replace it with something else like sunflower microgreens or wheat sprouts? You can. You can eat something else instead of lettuce. I don't remember if you have a house, I would plant it. You can grow it yourself. You can probably get lettuce seeds, and that would be better. That would be your best bet, would be to grow organic lettuce. In fact, if you live in an apartment and have a balcony, you could actually plant it on a balcony in a container. It doesn't require a lot of space. Now, you need a bunch of lettuces if you're eating a head every day, or quite a few leaves. If you grow a loose leaf variety where you're not picking a head, you can actually pull leaves off the plant and allow the plant to keep growing. That's what we're doing now with some of the lettuces that we're growing here. So that would be probably a better choice. And if not, I mean, go to farmers markets, see if you can find someone somewhere has to have organic lettuce. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't possible, but I don't know. Hello to all the folks joining me here on Instagram. Ruby, hello there. I see you there. I don't recognize all of the addresses. Milil, hello there. Elizabeth, Lao Tenzu, good to see you. What do you think of wearing sunglasses? Is there any situation in which it makes sense to use them, or do they confuse our body? They do confuse the body. As you may be aware, I'm 16 years now. In 2 more weeks, I think, I celebrate 16 years living here in the tropics, and I don't own a pair of sunglasses. Now, the only exception, I don't own a pair of sunglasses, but I have a motorcycle helmet which has a flip-down sunglass shade. And on a motorcycle, when I'm driving into the sun, directly into the sun, sometimes I need to put that down or I can't see. There's an exception, but generally speaking, I wouldn't wear sunglasses. We close tomorrow. We end our session. 10-week session is over tomorrow, which means I get a bit of a break. So it's a long session, a lot of work. And on Monday, I'll take my volunteers to the beach, and I'll be at the beach all afternoon on Monday. I won't wear a pair of sunglasses. I will do something which I don't really like doing, but I'll put on a cap like this, which you can even see here, provides some shade for my eyes. Now, obviously, if I looked right into the sun, I'd still have an issue, but it does help. This way, you still get the light rays, photons, reflected light rays still come into your eyes. We need that. The problem is if you are wearing sunglasses, you're actually not getting the light into your eyes that we need. Okay, we need that light into our eyes. Our autonomic nervous system doesn't function properly without getting some sunlight. And so no sunglasses for me. They also confuse your body in other ways because your eyes are the windows. If you're wearing dark sunglasses, your body, your brain thinks it's dark outside, and your skin's not ready for direct sunlight. And the result is that you burn more easily. So you're actually better prepared for sunlight when you do not wear sunglasses. Okay. And again, I know many people think, oh, it's not possible. Yeah, it is. It is indeed possible, and much better to not wear sunglasses. So as I said, I don't own a pair. Okay, I don't even own a pair. I think I'll keep this on. All right, let's see. Jersey 88. Hello there. Good to see you. No question. Just want to send you the best wishes. Thank you for your services. We need more people like you. So thank you so much. It's very, very kind. I truly appreciate your kind comments. That's nice. All right, let's see. Elia, good to see you here. Among the Cosmos is here. Emil says, how many times per week do you eat a salad for dinner, and what do you put in it? So I eat salads probably, on average, maybe 3 times a week, something like that. It varies. Some days, there are some weeks where I might eat a salad every night, and frankly, that's more likely to happen if someone is making them for me, which sometimes happens. Sometimes one of the volunteers will do it. for me. And if I mean, I'm really, really easy to satisfy. I love almost everything we have. So, I mean, there's certain fruits I'm not as big a fan of, but I could eat a salad every day. It's just my body doesn't really need the greens every day. And I usually do something that is faster and easier. So for me, it's probably an average of 2 to 3 times per week. My salads are very simple: lettuce, tomatoes, avocados, cucumber, noodles is my favorite way. That's what is almost always included. And then there might be one more variable ingredient in most cases. But usually the base is going to be lettuce, tomato, avocado, cucumbers. Lately, we have a lot of star fruits. I like to slice a star fruit up and add, that's delicious. We have several other acidic fruits which work really nicely in a salad. I might use some pineapple. I might use some. We've had a lot of great pineapples coming. I might use a little bit of mango sometimes, but I actually prefer the more acidic fruits most of the time. Okay, in a salad. All right, hope that helps. All right, so oops. All right, I'm gonna head back over there. Hello there, Jenny. Elias says, why do people say dry fasting equals 3 days of water fasting? Well, because they want that to be true. There's absolutely no reason to believe that. It's a complete nonsense. The fact is that dry fasting, the only thing that's guaranteed with dry fasting is that you become more dehydrated. But when you become dehydrated, your body cannot detoxify, okay? Because it takes water, whether we're eliminating toxins from the urinary tract, from the colon, through the skin, through the mucous membranes, eyes, nose, ears, mouth, vagina for women, or through the breath, nothing moves without having sufficient water. So when people become more dehydrated, they stop detoxifying and they feel better. Okay, I mean, they might feel very tired and weak and they can't speak because they have their mouth is so dry, but they think their symptoms have disappeared, and they have, because they've suppressed them, not because they've healed. I mean, it's crazy. It makes people dehydrated, dangerously so. Again, I know of several people who've died as a result of making themselves dehydrated from dry fasting. It makes no sense. There's no logic. There's no science to support it. I've read Filonov's book, translated into English. There's zero science to support these absurd claims, and it makes no sense whatsoever. Okay? Is it okay to eat half an avocado every day if you're trying to lose weight? Well, it's okay to eat half an avocado every day if you're trying to lose weight. The question is, will that impact your ability to lose weight? And it might. Fats contain twice as many calories per gram as carbohydrates or proteins. And so if you're eating a lot of concentrated fat, it's not a lot, but if you're eating concentrated fat, you're getting more calories. So you might be better off, focus on things like watermelon, papayas. I don't know where you are, what's available to you. But watermelon, for instance, are not particularly calorically dense foods. And so you can eat all you want and you're not getting a lot of calories. Okay? All right, let me go back up here to YouTube. Boris is here. Hello, Boris. Boris says, what do you really enjoy doing when and if you have free time? Well, I love body surfing. And so I go to the beach to body surf. And I enjoy a great movie, and we'll watch when I have free time. I'll watch a movie at least a couple times a week. We don't have television here. We have a big flat screen that we use for movies. We don't have broadcast TV, but I can watch movies that way. I love reading, but don't read so much these days. I like being in nature, so I'll take walks. I spend a lot of time in our garden here. It's nice to just sit in the forest or walk through the forest. And just like sitting quietly is amazing because you'll see a lot more than if you're moving around. We've actually just almost finished a rancho. We bought the farm next door last year. We just built another bridge over the stream, and there's a metal roofed rancho, a little place you can sit. elevated a few steps off the ground, so you've got a beautiful view of the forest floor and up into the trees. There's a stream that comes by right there. It's going to be a beautiful place to sit. Actually, I need to figure out what we're going to put in there so people can sit down. There'll be some furniture, but that hasn't happened yet. Again, this just got, well, it's not even completely done. It's basically done. They're tiling the floor, and they're almost finished, but I guess we've been working on something else because there hasn't been any progress there for a few days. But that's going to happen. What else? Yeah, I mean, I love playing backgammon. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's an amazing game if you're not familiar with it. But you know, just spending time with people I love. Those are some of my favorite things to do. Being in nature is the biggest one. All right, let's see. We have a super chat here. Sareen has made a 10 Canadian contribution and said, I'm worried I'm not suited for an extended water fast. I did a 24-hour fast 2 times and had cardiac issues from electrolyte imbalances. I've heard you say you've had some clients like this. I worry that would be me. Well, if that happened in 24 hours, Karine, what this tells us, Sareen, I'm sorry, what this tells us is that you started off with an electrolyte. You can't imbalance your electrolytes in 24 hours. They were already imbalanced. So we ask our clients to get their electrolytes tested before they begin fasting. And so if we can see where your electrolytes are, then we can keep you safe. And if your electrolytes are too low, then what you mean, if you haven't already done it, you'd want to go get them tested, see what they are, and take the proper steps to bring them to where they should be. Okay, I mean, I have fasted many thousands of people now over nearly quarter century. Tanglewood, this company, is more than 24 years old. And we've been busy, nearly full most of that time. And so we rarely, if ever, see electrolyte problems. Now, where there are problems, it's when people make mistakes. They drink too fast, or they don't drink enough. Or there's ongoing vomiting. But again, I mean, most people would have to vomit 5 or 6 times a day for at least a couple of weeks to create a problem. It doesn't happen in one day. So you had to start off with an issue. Okay, there was already an existing problem there. I promise you. Otherwise, it couldn't happen. It just doesn't happen that way. All right, Andre Vincent says, I remember you once said that if you eat cooked food, fruit won't taste the same. That's true. You bastardize your taste buds. You lose your taste for real food, real flavors like fruit when you eat cooked food, which contains all kinds of excitotoxins. Okay, so you lose your desire for real food. All right, Krasimir, Sergeyev has made a 5 Bulgarian contribution. Thank you so much, Sergeyev. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. All right. I'm noticing here, I'm going to come to Nell's question. I'm sorry, Neil's question in just a minute. But Barry asks, laying down for 21 days in bed during a water fast isn't great for your lymphatic system. That's a question. It's perfectly fine for your lymphatic system. Doesn't hurt your lymphatic system in any way. Can you do gentle trampolining during fasts to speed up your lymphatic system? No. We don't need to speed up the lymphatic system. Again, this is a misunderstanding by people who don't understand what's really going on. Our lymphatic system doesn't need our help. Okay, when we walk, I mean, you're going to get up and walk to the toilet, right? Maybe you walk outside. As you move your body, we have lymph nodes in the underarms and groin that help pump your lymph. But your lymph is moved by your heart. Okay, all the lymphatic system, we have lymph nodes all the way around the neck. All the lymph dumps into the thoracic duct, which is a major vein going back to the heart. Okay, all the lymph dumps into the bloodstream, which goes back to the heart right here. And so when the heart beats, what does it do? It pushes blood and it pulls what's coming in. Okay? Lymph, the fluid itself, is blood plasma that leaks out of the arteries on purpose. On purpose. This is the system design. So we have this, we have blood moving through the arteries, bringing it to the cells, and then the veins which bring it back to the heart. But as the blood is moving through the arteries and the heart is beating, some blood plasma leaks out of the arteries into the surrounding tissue. And now we call it lymph. And it picks up all the garbage, which is then brought back into the bloodstream and pumped directly to the kidneys to be eliminated. So when the heart beats, it's pushing lymph directly as well. Because again, it's blood plasma, it's pushing blood, and as the blood goes through the blood vessels into the surrounding tissue, it still has pressure behind it. It's being moved. And I mean, science is completely clear about this, so I'm not sure how so many people believe that your lymph can't move. I have fasted dozens of times and have fasted thousands of people, some of whom literally lay in bed and don't move in some cases. And that's rare, but it's happened. Perfectly fine. We don't have a problem. Okay, we don't need to, and the answer is no. You definitely don't want to jump on a trampoline while you're fasting. You should be resting as completely as possible. You know, again, understand that the way our bodies work and the way animal bodies work in nature is almost exactly the same. They're the same systems. So what happens in nature when animals fast? They lay down and don't move, almost without exception. They'll lay down and stop. I mean, you can watch your cat or dog. If it gets sick enough, it'll lay down and stop moving. Well, doesn't it need to brush to move lymph? No, it doesn't need to do anything. The design is perfect as it is. We don't need to help it along. Okay, I mean, again, why do people say this? Well, I mean, people want to believe they're magic processes. They want to sell products like brushes, etc. We don't need to worry about this. Now, and it may well be that if your system is backed up enough, maybe you could use a little help. But when fasting, we don't need to do anything. We don't need to worry about this. It is not an issue. Okay, it's not an issue. I promise you, it's not an issue. All right, I'm going to scroll back up because we have some other super chats here. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so all right, so Neil Brown is asking, has made a $10 contribution. Thank you so much. It says, good morning. Is there any benefit at all to intermittent fasting and adding a 25 plus hour fast once a week or every other week for autophagy? Okay, so intermittent fasting makes sense, but not for the reasons that some people will tell you. There's no huge cleansing that happens when we don't eat for 16 hours a day or even one day. It takes the body 10 to 11 days to get to the deepest part of the process. So not eating for 24 hours or 25 hours plus isn't going to make any huge difference to you. Okay, it just doesn't do that much. So you want to be clear about that. So why is intermittent fasting beneficial? Well, intermittent fasting is beneficial because most people eat way too much food. Most people are overeating all the time. And research is really, really clear about this. The one thing that longevity experts agree on is we should eat less food. That the less we eat, the longer we live. Okay? I mean, to a point. Right? That doesn't mean if we go down to zero, we're going to live longer. I'm not suggesting that. I'm not recommending breatharianism here. Okay, that's not what I'm suggesting to you. What I'm saying is that we shouldn't be eating any more than we need to, and most people eat a lot more than they need to. You know, again, people have told me I'm a liar. It's not possible, but I've been living on 12 to 1,500 calories. I'm 6 feet tall, 150 pounds, 182, about 67, 68 kilos. And I've been eating 1,200 or so calories per day for nearly 30 years. I'm strong and fit and have tons of energy. It's not like I'm low on, it's not like I can't move or I'm weak. That's not the case at all. It won't, because once you've already done it once, how much benefit will you get next time? Okay, it's a very superficial cleanse, superficial level cleanse. So you're not getting that much benefit from it. Okay, that's the issue. You want to be clear about that. Okay, so what I'd recommend doing instead, definitely intermittent fast. Stop eating more than necessary. Okay, what is it? It's now, it's only 9:30. I've been awake now working for 4.5, actually about 5 hours today. Most days by this point, I've already done 100 or more push-ups. Got my push-up stands right here on the floor next to me. So when I have a few minutes between calls, I'll jump down and do a set of push-ups or two. I'll usually do dips in the kitchen next door on the L-shaped countertops there. I've already spent hours on calls with clients. I'll go give a lecture. I won't have breakfast, my first meal of the day, until 3 o'clock in the afternoon some days. I mean, usually it's between 2 and 3 in the afternoon, depending on my schedule, what's happening. But the point is I can easily, in fact, I can go all day without eating and still have tons of energy. So I clearly need much less food than most people think someone would need or that I would need. I don't eat anywhere near as much as most people think I should need. And so I eat much less, and I feel great by doing that. You would feel better if you stop putting food in your body too early in the day. Give yourself a much longer break, okay? So that you wind up eating less food. That's really the objective. You don't want to eat as much food in a shorter window. You want to eat less food. That's the biggest benefit. Now, there is some benefit to having a break of several hours, especially for most people who are constantly forcing their body to work. But again, it's more that having the break is what should happen. It's not that it's, oh, look what happens if we do this crazy thing like not eat for a while. We shouldn't be eating any more than necessary. So if we actually did that, the rest of the time the body would be able to function much better in terms of doing what it needs to do. We are always in autophagy, always. It just is more powerful when we're fasting. But if we keep our diet clean, I mean, my recommendation for anyone who's really serious about their health, is to do a supervised fast of at least 21 days. 21 to 30 days for most people is plenty. It's life-changing what happens. Absolutely life-changing. After that, then you just keep making great choices. You don't need to do a whole series of short fasts, because every time you do a short fast, you're not getting that much benefit from it. You know, a 1 day fast. It's not even a 3 or 4 day fast. It's not that beneficial. It's superficial. So the people who benefit most from doing intermittent fasting and these very short fasts are people who keep making poor choices. Then when they take a break, the body has surface level cleansing to do. But if you're making great choices, there's not so much benefit. There's not that much that the body needs to do. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right. Okay, so let's see here. Francisco Pinto, I don't know if you understand English. Looks like you're writing in Portuguese. I'm not sure I can understand part of what you're saying here. And if it says what I think it says, I will be deleting it. Now, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but to come on here and push it and shouting in all caps. Yeah, I mean, first of all, yeah, you know, fasting is absolutely free to anyone. I mean, you can just stop eating. The problem is that because we've all grown up not really understanding it, you need to know what you're doing. And this is why I heard this today. I heard this yesterday from someone else. People saying, my process with you, I'm hearing it right now. I mean, everyone leaves. So I had a guy in my office here just about half an hour ago who was saying, you know, this has been the most profound thing I've ever done. And I've tried on my own and don't get the same results. Okay, now why is that? It's because most people don't really know what to do. They don't know how much to drink. They don't know how, you know, it's really understanding the entire process and being able to relax because you know that you're okay. That makes a huge difference. Also, the place itself, I mean, when people come here, our entire place is set up to support people in the process. So it's hard to do better than that. Okay, those love songs has made a $50 contribution and said, have a great weekend, Loren. Thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic weekend yourself, Martha. I truly appreciate your support. And I look forward to seeing you again. Maria Cruz, hello, Loren. Much love to you too. Deborah says, I have a fib. Can eating raw help with that? A fib? It looks like fib. I'm not sure what you mean exactly. So I can't answer your question. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what you mean. Ian has 444444 has made a 5-pound contribution and says, I understand the importance of sipping water regularly, which I've mastered, but should we also eat slowly? For me, this is more difficult. Thanks. Well, it's important that we don't eat so quickly that the body can't process what we're eating. But it's not like water. The problem with drinking water is if we drink too quickly, we literally dilute our electrolytes and can put ourselves in significant danger. With food, the food has to go through most of our 32-foot-long digestive tract before it gets to the transverse colon, where most of the excess water, assuming there is excess water, assuming we're eating high water content foods, where that excess water is absorbed into the bloodstream. And so we're not going to hurt ourselves by eating water that way, by eating water too quickly, eating food too quickly. If we eat quickly, we might impair our digestion. We might not be chewing thoroughly. We might be taking it in so fast that the stomach isn't going to have an easy time. But generally speaking, it's quite different than with water, where we actually put ourselves in specific danger by diluting electrolytes when we drink too quickly. That doesn't happen with food, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Okay, I hope that helps. Massimo says, hi, Loren. How important is it to meet the official nutrient requirements every day? I manage it with cooked food and 2,000 kilocalories with raw food and 1,200 kilocalories not. It's not that important. Those daily recommendations are based on average people eating conventionally, which means cooked food, okay, where most of the nutrients have been destroyed. So you might be getting all the iron you need, but your body can't use most of it. When you eat, A, your body's clean, and B, you then eat properly, you're actually getting the benefit of what you're eating. And so it's completely different. You don't need to worry about this. It's just a non-issue. You want to make sure you're getting what you need, but that can happen without meeting those requirements. I'm sure I don't meet them. I don't pay any attention. I couldn't give a crap about that. I just listen to my body. Okay, I haven't been sick a day in 34 plus years. My body still functions amazingly well. And, I don't pay any attention to those recommended daily allowances. All right. So PETA says, can water fasting cure kidney problems such as protein in the urine? Well, the thing to understand is that fasting only, what it does is it allows us to get out of our body's way. Healing is a biological process. So only the body can heal the body. There's no medicines, there's no healers, there's no herbs, there's no substances that can heal your body, because healing is a biological process. Only the body can heal itself. Only the body can cure. Only the body can fix something. Only the body can do that, can cleanse itself. Nothing cleanses you. Your body cleanses itself. So the question is, can these kidney problems be healed? Can they heal? The answer is yes. Fasting is going to be the most efficient and most effective way to do it, assuming that one fasts properly and long enough. And that's the key. Again, doing this on your own, if you don't really know what you're up to, you might not get the results that you want. Okay, you have to really understand what's going on. But if you know what you're doing and do it properly, yeah, you can heal almost anything through fasting. Not because fasting heals us, it doesn't. Fibrillation. Okay, thank you, Martha. She has a fibrillation. You can fast with fibrillation in the heart. It's no problem. AFib. I'm sorry. I was reading a fib. You have AFib, and you said you did it properly. Can eating raw help with that? Yeah. Is there any help or advice that you can give? I'm 24/7 and on medication for rate control. I'm not sure what that. I'm sorry. I think I'm missing something, or maybe there was a typo. But yeah, eating optimally is one of the most important things you can do. what you want to do is make sure you're meeting all of your body's needs as well as possible, Deborah. And I can absolutely help you with that. If you'd like, you can go to tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com and schedule a 1-hour consultation with me. Complete the consultation form, so I have as much of your health history as possible, including what you're currently eating and drinking and all that. And then we can talk about exactly what you need to do to allow your body to have the very best chances to heal. There's a very good chance that it can. Okay? Martha, thanks again. All right, Henry asks, hey, Loren, if I wanted to ask if distilled water is safe for water fasting. If not, is there any way to make distilled water safe, adding lemons, etc.? Distilled water is not safe for anyone to consume. Okay, it's unnatural, it's devoid of nutrients, and we need there to be inorganic minerals, not because the body needs them as nutrients, but because that's the natural state of water. Water in nature always has minerals in it, and we need there to be minerals so that water can cross cell membranes, conduct electricity, which is what we run on. You don't want to be taking in water that won't conduct electricity, as distilled water won't. In order for distilled water to do anything, it has to take electrolytes from your bloodstream. You don't want to do that. The way to fix it is to throw it away and get something that's actually suitable for consumption. You don't fix something that's damaged. Okay, if we add anything to it, the body thinks it's food. So the thing to do with distilled water is to get rid of it and get spring water is the best you can do, is clean spring water if you can find a clean spring. If you can't, then the next best would be reverse osmosis. But a typical home filter that only takes out about 90% of the minerals. It leaves minerals in. Okay? All right. Salome asks, first of all, makes a $5 contribution. Thank you so much. And says, hi there. Thank you for all the education and life-saving info. Can you suggest a place or device so I can measure my hydration level? I'm in the States. Okay, well, you can buy a bioimpedance scale. And in fact, something I probably have shared before recently, but I'll share again now. I believe we're now live. I haven't actually looked at it yet since it's been finished. But we have, because I get these questions all the time, we went to Amazon and chose the best bioimpedance scales at a couple of price points. The better ones are going to be more accurate. The very inexpensive ones, unfortunately, aren't probably worth buying. So I plan on spending at least $100 or more. But we've offered several, I think a couple of different bioimpedance scales, blood pressure monitors, thermometers. We've gone out and found the types of devices, in some cases the exact same ones that we use here, the ones we believe are best, the same with kitchen tools and many other things. And there's actually two options that you would want to know about. One is anything on that list. You can, if you go to our webpage, the tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com page, go to shop, and you can find a list of these items and can buy them directly from Amazon. We make a small, when I say we, let me clarify. There's a small commission on those sales, which goes directly to the Clean Source Foundation that we set up to create the Nature Preserve. Okay, so those funds go directly to a 501c3 non-taxable foundation set up in Massachusetts to own the land here in Costa Rica, called Clean Source. Okay, so but you're helping us with that project. You can also, there's something called Amazon Smile, and if you join the Amazon Smile program, I think we have a link to that as well. You can designate Clean Source, and what will happen is every time you buy anything from Amazon, Clean Source will get a small commission on that. So again, you're helping to support this amazing project that we're creating. Okay, but those are the devices that you need. Now, in the meantime, if you look at your blood pressure and your spread, the difference between the systolic and diastolic pressure isn't where it should be. That tells me that you're dehydrated. Okay, I don't have to know. It's not a measure of hydration. It's a measure of blood volume. But if your blood volume's not where it should be, then we know that you're dehydrated, because blood's important enough that if you're fully hydrated, there's always going to be enough blood. So if that number is not where it should be, and where it should be, I have a video on my YouTube channel that talks about spread, and you can watch that to learn where it should be. If you're at 120, it should be 50 points, 120 over 70. If you're at 90, it should be 40 points, 90 over 50. And then between 90 and 120, it's going to vary. It's basically, yeah, the spread changes by 1/3 of the change in pressure. And again, if you need help, we can do a consultation. I can help you understand this better. You may also find a place, if you don't want to buy the devices, there may be, when I lived in the Washington, D.C. area, there were some places like health clubs where you could pay them some amount of money, and they would actually do these tests for you and give you the results. Where you are exactly, I don't know, and whether there's some place nearby that will do this, I don't know. But the chances are pretty good that there is. So if you don't want to buy the device yourself, you can probably still do this. Okay. Daniel is here and has made a €10 contribution and says, "Hi, Loren. If I'm not mistaken, once you said that we should not eat fruit because of sugar at the same time or after eating things like avocado because of fat. Correct? Thanks a lot." Yeah, so the first part, you had me wondering what you were thinking. If you've ever heard me say you shouldn't eat fruit, that's, you misheard me. But yes, you don't want to eat fruit with or right after eating avocado, especially if you have a blood sugar problem, because the presence of fat in your bloodstream makes you more insulin resistant. So it makes it harder for the body to outprocess the extra sugar from your bloodstream. Okay, so this is why I recommend eating fats at the last meal of the day. Okay, so if you have dinner at 6 o'clock at night, that's when you should eat fats and nothing sweet after that. Because by the time you eat the next day, especially if you don't eat too early in the morning, I know some people eat at 6 o'clock in the morning. I can't even imagine that. Again, I don't get hungry until 2 o'clock in the afternoon most days. But if you're eating it even at 9 o'clock in the morning and you had your last meal at 6, it's been 15 hours. And that's enough time to get most of the fat out of the bloodstream. It can take 15, 16 hours, which means you won't be so insulin resistant. But that's what I've said. Don't eat fruit. Don't eat avocado. No, don't eat fruit after eating concentrated fats like avocado, okay? Because it's going to create a problem for you, okay? And we have among the Cosmos, who is has made a $19.99 contribution and says, "For my Instagram question." Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much. I didn't charge you for Instagram question. You know that, right? But I appreciate very much your kind support. Okay, so you are very, very welcome, and thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to, speaking of Instagram, let me go back to Instagram and see what messages were here that I hadn't already responded to. Let me see here. I remember you once said that if you eat cooked food, okay, I already answered that one. Why don't you recommend other greens besides salad? That's lettuce. I see a lot of fruitarians that eat carrots, zucchini, celery, herbs, and so on. Yeah, well, because I'm actually focused on what's optimal for the body and read science and understand it and test things myself. And so I'm clear that herbs, for instance, the green herbs, are all toxic to the body. They want to survive, not be eaten, and they make themselves toxic. That's what culinary herbs have in common. They're all, it's a class of plants that have produced specific alkaloids so that we don't eat them. It's to discourage their predators from eating them. Now, these things are usually gauged for insects, which are on average 100,000 times smaller than we are. And so they're pretty weak toxins, but they're toxic and they're not very good for us. So I don't recommend eating these other things because they're not as good for us as soft, tender leaves, non-strong tasting leaves like lettuce and fruit. That's what I eat because that's what's best. If I eat other stuff, and I will occasionally eat these other things, but I don't feel as good. They don't work as well for the body. I mean, again, I'm really, really clear. They're just not optimal. So you can do it, but I can't think of any reason why you should do it. For me, it happens only if I'm at a gourmet restaurant or eating that kind of a meal, which is something that happens relatively infrequently. Okay. Citrus Simon says, how long did it take for you to master fasting? That's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, when I started fasting, I was trying to fast. I was fasting just to try to get my health back. I hadn't decided at that point that I was going to wind up, with a long career guiding other people through fasts. And so I didn't keep good notes. I didn't pay that much attention. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned as I went along. I mean, I guess it probably took me 10 years or more to really master it. Maybe I haven't mastered it yet, but I have a lot of experience now, having fasted many thousands of people for 26 days on average. But it took quite a while to really understand. I still learn new things all the time. So I guess I haven't mastered it, because if I was already a master, then maybe I'd be learning nothing. I don't know. Maybe I'd already know everything, right? I don't know everything yet. That's for sure. I'm learning new things about this all the time. Thanks so much for your question and your kind contribution. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Now, again, I think that's the end here on YouTube. I have about 10 minutes left, I see, before my next call. So let me come back here to Instagram in the meantime. I've been answering a lot of questions from YouTube, so let me see what's on Instagram. Andre Vincent says, how many times do you have to eat cooked food to lose that fruit taste? Is it only once? And is fasting the only way to get it back? No, theoretically, if you simply eat really clean for a while, your taste buds will regenerate. Would probably take at least a week to do that, and maybe longer. Fasting is never the only way to heal anything. It's simply the most efficient and effective way to heal anything, because your body, when you fast properly, your body can put all of its energy into cleansing and healing. If you're drinking the water you need, it can eliminate the garbage as quickly as possible. And so we get much better, much faster, much more efficient, better results that way. But it's definitely not that it's the only way. I've never suggested that. Okay. All right. So I'm just saying hello, waving to a bunch of folks here on Instagram that are just joining. Good to see you, or I guess maybe you've been sitting here waiting already for a few minutes. Malil says, why? Oh, I already answered that one. You posted it again. Okay. Beyond the Trivial says, my first meal is also around 13, 14 hours, but I am still eating and drinking veggie juices, and sometimes I feel very hungry. Okay. Now, and I mean, when you say you feel hungry, my next question would be, what exactly do you mean by that? Because when most people talk about hunger, they're talking about a stomach-based sensation, and that's not actually hunger. Okay, hunger has nothing to do with the stomach. Those symptoms in the stomach happen because the body's cleansing and healing the stomach. It's not the same as actually being hungry. So that's what most people are experiencing, and it's not a need for food. But of course, I don't really know exactly what's going on for you. All right. Elias says, can you discuss what a healthy stool looks like eating all fruit combined with fasting? Well, I mean, healthy stool is a healthy stool. When you're fasting, your stools may be very different because there's so much else going on. But so there's no such thing as, a healthy stool while fasting. I mean, while you're fasting, you're not going to be eliminating the first couple days you might have stools that look perfectly healthy because they're what you just ate. That really should be the first day. If it's longer than 8 to 12 hours in your system, or much longer than that, it's already going to be affected by the process of fasting, and therefore won't be the same. But a healthy stool is a stool that is brown. It is soft. It's never hard or painful or dry. It comes easily, quickly, painlessly, and has no odor. That's what a healthy stool looks like. Okay, I hope that helps. Again, when fasting, it's going to be quite different. All right. Hola, Romina. ¿Cómo está? I hope you are well. No sé si entiende inglés. Si no, mañana a las 9 acá, a la misma hora que empecé aquí hoy, voy a estar en vivo en español. Cada sábado en español a las 9 aquí en Costa Rica. Cada viernes en inglés. Estoy aquí. Okay. Mara's here. Hello there, Mara. Pia Badsgaard says, hi from Denmark. How about ganglion? Can that be healed? You're talking about a ganglion cyst. Yeah, your body can heal virtually anything. Cysts can definitely heal. They heal all the time. Fasting simply makes it the most efficient and effective way. Again, assuming you know what you're doing. I mean, fasting, just you stop eating, you're probably going to get some cleansing and healing accomplished. But if you're making a lot of mistakes, you're not going to come close to getting as much benefit as you could as if you're doing it correctly. This is why it always makes sense to know what you're doing. It always makes sense to do it as well as you can. That usually requires having experienced guidance to accomplish that. When people do, it's amazing what happens in most cases. Karina says, hice un ayuno de 3 días y fue lo máximo. She did a 3-day fast that was as long as she could do. Well, it's just about knowing what to do, Karina. So if you let me guide you through the process, I promise you'll do much more than that. And you'll see amazing things happen. Beyond the Trivial says, do you recommend botanicals to accelerate kidney filtration? No, absolutely not. I don't ever recommend manipulating the body to trying to create a particular outcome because the result of that is unintended side effects. We never need to do that. We never really benefit from doing that. This whole idea about kidney filtration is largely nonsense. If you take toxic things like herbs, you're going to be, you might look like you're filtering more, but it's because you've got more garbage in your body that your body's trying to get rid of. Okay. If you dry fast, you more kidney filtration. What does that mean? Your urine is going to be darker with more stuff in it. Why? Because it's more concentrated, but not because it's actually eliminating anything else. The best we can do is to intelligently get out of the body's way. It's never about manipulating the body. So I don't use any botanicals. I don't use anything except water. That's all we do. And we see amazing results. And I guarantee those results. If you're open and coachable, you can follow simple directions. You're going to see amazing things happen when you fast with me. All right, what about cheap gallons of spring water in plastic? Yeah, I wouldn't buy those. You want to buy, ideally you want to get spring water from springs. The next best thing would be to buy it in glass bottles, okay? But drinking anything in these milk bottle type plastic bottles, that plastic is the fastest plastic to break down. And so you're most likely to have toxins in your water, drinking water from those plastic bottles. And if they've ever been exposed to heat or direct sunlight, even more so. Okay, so I don't recommend them at all and would never personally use that water. Daisy Lorena Para. Hello there, Daisy. What upnon? Okay, good to see you. What's your opinion about Tanita BC 1000? Is it a good one? Yeah, it's actually the same scale we have here. It works perfectly well. We have a couple, but that's one of our scales, and it works great if you know what you're doing. But again, as I told you earlier, it's not measuring hydration. It's just telling you the percentage of your mass, which is water. If you want to calculate hydration, you have to calculate it yourself. That's what I do. We take the numbers the scale gives us, and we calculate things that it's not doing. Because we don't care. It doesn't make any difference what percentage of your mass is water. What matters is how hydrated you are, and that's different. What are thoughts about spices? Well, spices are toxic substances. They're excitotoxins, as I was saying earlier. Okay, they excite the taste buds, but they're actually toxic to us, and they wind up destroying your taste buds, so you don't taste anything else. you don't taste much of anything. You have to eat stronger and stronger flavors to get what you want. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't use them and don't recommend using them. Mara says, I think we can not have all the answers yet. That's why sharing is so important to us. Okay, well, sure. I mean, I don't pretend to have all the answers, but you're going to find a lot of people who are going to tell you that spices are good for you. They're going to heal you. And of course, that's nonsense because only the body heals itself. And so, I would suggest that you want to be somewhat careful about who you get advice from. I mean, what some people are doing is they're going to Facebook and asking the same questions until they hear what they want to hear, what they'd already decided they wanted to hear, and then they're going to act on that basis. They're just looking for someone else to justify it. Well, I read it online. Okay, you can read anything online, anything at all. Someone told me today that he heard from some spiritual leader that if you sip water, you'll swell your brain. Well, I've been supervising fast for more than 24 years, thousands of people. We've never had anyone have a problem with a swollen brain, as far as we know. This isn't what happens. Okay, we have no brain problems whatsoever. How clean are you after colonoscopy? Does it clean out the hardened matter? Thank you. No. Colonoscopies affect the colon. So they give you that stuff to clean you out, but it's only cleaning out your colon. The old hard material is, generally speaking, in the small intestine, not the colon, and that's unaffected completely. Okay, colonoscopies and colonics don't actually help because they flush out things that should not be flushed out. They upset the gut biome. Okay, this all important 3 pounds of bacteria, 10 trillion bacteria that live in your gut. Those are negatively affected by colonics. I wouldn't do one, and I definitely wouldn't recommend doing one. We don't need to. Okay, they're completely unnecessary. You want to be clear about that. Okay, so I'm about out of time here. Let me just mention, first of all, let me thank each of you for being here with me. Thank you for your kind comments. Let me say that if those of you who've made a generous contribution, thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. If you haven't, if you're not able to, that's okay. You're welcome, and I appreciate you as well. If you've enjoyed this and you think there's value here, maybe you can give it a thumbs up, okay, a like on Instagram, and feel free to share the link on your own page so you can help other people find this critical information. I have a call with clients which has just started, and so I need to get there because they're waiting for me to guide them through their fasts. Folks, have a fantastic weekend. It's been a pleasure being with you. I'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Okay, oops, got to stop here. We'll